These are individuals from Syria, from Iran, from Iraq, from Pakistan, from West Africa, from locations where terrorism is known to exist, and we don't have any criminal history of those individuals. If you're thinking, I'm glad we picked them up between ports of entry, well, let me finish the story for you. Most of those 70,000 special interest aliens were identified between the ports of entry and then were released into the country under Biden's policy on how he handles immigration currently.
All right, so a record number of migrants, many on the terror watch list, continue to cross the southern border every day, with officials now warning that Hamas terrorists, and these are Biden administration officials, Hamas terrorists might try to cross as the war in Israel enters day 18.
All right, for more, let's welcome in Oklahoma Senator and member of the Homeland Security Committee, James Lankford. Senator, thank you so much. You're a co-founder and co-chair of the Senate Abraham Accord Caucus. I want to talk about what's happening right now. The U.S. is evacuating embassies. What message does that send?
It's a message of instability in the region, obviously. We don't know what Iran is going to do as they continue to be able to stir up their proxies in Yemen and Syria and in Lebanon, and obviously what's happening with Hamas and Gaza. Iran continues to be able to just stir the pot over and over and over again and to be able to threaten Americans. This administration is given kind of a tepid red line. I would call it the bright pink line of saying, don't attack us or we will respond, rather than making a very clear statement to Iran that we will hold you to account every time one of your proxies attacks United States citizens.
Yeah.
So they have not given that kind of response. They certainly should give that kind of response. But Americans anywhere should be aware that there are Iranian groups that are Iranian-backed groups all over the Middle East region that are very much active and very much seem to have been given the green light by Iran to be able to attack at will.
Yeah, it's just a scary thought that 2 years after what we saw play out with that Afghanistan withdrawal, that we could be looking at another Biden administration evacuation, which, by the way, should be their campaign slogan. All right, that's a metaphor for what we've seen over the last 3 years. Let's talk about the warning. The administration putting out a warning that Hamas terrorists might be crossing the southern border. Senator, I think they're already here. I think it's already happened. I think that there are probably Hamas cells in the U.S. right now, probably waiting to be activated. I don't want to say that, but that's where we are. I think the warning should have come 3 years ago, and we should have addressed this. We didn't. They're already here. Do you agree with that?
I do, painfully. And I would tell you, the clip that you just played of me being on the floor, there are 70,000 people that are called special interest aliens that the administration has basically ignored and waved in. They've done fingerprinting on them and just allowed them in. They're from Iraq. They're from Syria. They're from Iran. They're from all over the Middle East. They're from areas where terrorism is known to exist. And they just identify them and release them and say, you'll get your hearing in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years. But they can literally travel anywhere they want. They're not being checked. They're not being monitored. This is a painful thing that we've seen, that I've actually been ringing this bell for years now on this administration over and over again, saying this is a national security risk. We forget, and apparently this administration is not paying attention to the fact that the 9/11 attackers were all people not legally present in the country. Those are the folks that killed thousands of Americans, were people not legally present in the country. And to be able to just ignore this and allow this to start all over again misses all the most basic lessons of 9/11.
Yeah. Do you think that they will continue to ignore it now that they put out, this potential warning, which, again, as Rob said, maybe too little too late? We don't know who's in this country. Do you think they may take action now, or just continue to bury their head in the sand?
It's hard to be able to tell. What's interesting is the warning they put out, and you've seen it, but they put out a warning showing here are the logos for Hezbollah, for Hamas, for Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Here's their logos. Here's their patch. Here's basically what their tattoo would look like. But there's no instructions that also say, and don't allow them in. It's just, hey, a heads up, this is what this looks like, so that people on the border will be aware of that.
Think about how pathetic that is. Wait, that's for people at the border, or is that for
that like I'm overwhelmed? Like
I'm changing at the gym and somebody's got a Hamas tattoo. I've got to know what that looks like?
No, it's for people at the border that they actually released it out and said, as folks are coming across the border, watch for this patch. But I don't anticipate a lot of Hamas fighters are going to come across in their uniform with their patch on, coming across into to be able to attack America.
Generally speaking, that's the case. Yes, they don't warn you.
Yeah, we've seen lots of folks that have come across in camo, military-age men that are slipping across. Many of them are gotaways that we couldn't get to on it. So 1.5 million of those. So we don't know what we don't know at this point.
Yeah.
But we do know it's a huge risk, and the border is very open.
Senator, it feels like we're closer to 9/10 than 9/12, the day after 9/11 in this country. You look at what happened in Israel 18 days ago. We're talking about not sophisticated terrorists on hang gliders, all right, that got into that concert venue. You look at the 19 hijackers 9/11, they with box cutters. They beat the FBI, the CIA, and a much more primitive TSA at that time. But the people that are crossing the border are not school teachers and scientists and doctors. These are not the best and the brightest, are they?
No, and it's painful, again, how the administration's handling this. If an individual's on what's called our terror watch list, they're not allowed to be able to come in. But if you're traveling with someone who is on the terror watch list, you're just released into the country awaiting your hearing. I actually was at the border a couple of months ago. There was a Russian that was picked up that was on our terror watch list. He was detained and not allowed in, but the other Russians traveling with him, they were just released in the country. And I don't know how often Sunday school teachers travel with terrorists, but apparently this administration just believes if you travel with a terrorist, you must still be okay.
Yeah. Remember they created that app? They're like, oh, we have this app now. Now this will be better.
That works well.
Nothing seems to be working.
And I think about Ellis Island, which I visited not long ago with my 7-year-old, and these people they became the bedrock, the fabric for the 20th century in this country. They worked at the Navy Yard. They opened up restaurants. They did whatever they could to provide for their families. And when you look at the single men, by and large, crossing the border every single day, it just doesn't look the same.
It's painful. I would say the Border Patrol is saying more and more folks are non-Spanish speaking individuals coming from the Middle East, coming from China, coming from Russia, coming from West Africa. The fewer and fewer folks that are Spanish speaking individuals coming, more and more coming from all over the world, because the cartels basically make more money if they move people in from farther away. So they're advertising globally and they're getting all these guys coming in.
And probably not looking to assimilate into American culture. Many of these people do not like American culture. I think it's safe to say that. Senator, we'll leave it there. We'll pick this conversation up again soon. Thanks so much for being with us. We appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, y'all.